What's up, you guys? This is Professor Ron with OneHourProfessor.com, and today I am here to tell you how to start a beauty blog. So, beauty blogs in general, they are some of the most popular types of blogs that are out there. They let people who are passionate about beauty, whether it be makeup or skincare, there's a bunch of different types of niches with beauty. But it basically is a place where you can showcase things that you're passionate about, right? Someone that's interested in beauty. And while you may think that the beauty niche is saturated, which is understandable because there are a lot of beauty blogs out there, this particular niche in this area just continues to experience growth month after month, year after year. It's never going to go out of style. It's never going to go away. So really, that being said, this is a good niche to get into if you're interested in it. If you think, I really like beauty, I have a real passion for it, then I urge you to get into it. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain 10 different steps to follow very closely if you are looking to launch your own beauty blog. That said, I do want to say if you are watching this video to follow along, right, there is a link in the description below that will actually have these 10 steps for you so that you can follow along and read them in more detail. Because I'm going to go over them here in the video, but I'm also going to kind of summarize, right? So make sure that you check out that blog post as well. All right, so step one in this whole process is deciding the focus of your beauty blog. So as the name suggests, obviously a beauty blog is about beauty, right? But you need to figure out the focus of your beauty blog and what you want to do with it. And kind of the ways and the angles in which you would want to cover beauty. So let me explain a little bit more detail here. So generally speaking, there's a lot of different areas that you can focus when it comes to a beauty blog, right? You can review products, right? Write super helpful product reviews that help your audience and that people will see, right? When they come to your blog, they'll see it and say, oh, this particular product, here's a review on it. And they can see that, and then they can either decide to go purchase or not purchase a particular product. You may have come across these yourself, right? They can be really helpful if they're well done. Next would be product hauls. So this is basically when you purchase a lot of different products and then you kind of showcase those products and show people, hey, these are the different products I got. This is the packaging, I like it or dislike it because, right? And then you explain why you chose the brands that you did, etc. Next, you could do your favorite monthly products. So you can also go into your favorite monthly products or like beauty boxes, really is kind of what I'm getting at here. The idea of joining beauty box companies out there and then talking about, hey, each month this is what they're delivering. Here's what I think of these products. That's also a good angle. Next would be tutorials and advice. This is probably the biggest area for beauty blogs, right? This is if you have skills in makeup, hair, nail care, skincare, etc. What you can do is you can create videos like a YouTube channel about it, or if you want to do a blog just showcasing images, you can do that as well. But the idea here is to create a blog that really focuses on tutorials and advice. Now, this is very saturated, a lot of different people out there, so you have to be pretty good at what you do. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that because it definitely can, but realize that this is going to be competitive if you go tutorials advice. So feel free, if you're doing this, you could do this and a few other things as well, right? It doesn't just have to be that. In addition, creating a complimentary YouTube channel is something I usually tell people to avoid this for the most part. But if you're creating a beauty blog, I feel like that's one of the places, depending on what your niche is, right? That's one of the places where it makes sense to do because video really helps with beauty stuff. Because you kind of like, if people are like, hey, here's a makeup tutorial, you want to see the video, right? Or a hair tutorial, you want to see it. So I think that's a good area here as well. Is to create a complimentary YouTube channel. And then lastly is beauty products for beginners, right? So this is kind of focusing on beauty for beginners, right? Younger folks who aren't all that comfortable with beauty, or maybe, mothers or elders who haven't been, wearing makeup for some time for whatever reason, kind of focused on helping them understand the beauty products as well. So next is you have to choose your beauty niche. Now, this is where you focus or you figure out the direction of your blog, right? Like the actual direction where you want to go. So keep in mind, it's best to start when you're doing this. It's best to start in like 1 to 2 niches, okay? And then kind of expand out as you grow and as your blog can support it. So because by niching down, the more you niche down in the beginning, the better. Mainly because your blog gets really focused in an area. Google recognizes that. That's where you get your clout. Google recognizes it, and then you'll start getting traffic that way. But for instance, a 40-year-old woman with a busy lifestyle, they're more likely to follow a beauty blogger who blogs about, 10-minute Asian skincare routines for mature women, right? They're more interested in the stuff for mature women because that fits them. That's who they are. Than, someone who offers generic advice, right? So just, some 20-something-year-old girl who just offers generic advice. So niching down to a particular audience is always a good idea. So here are the different beauty niches to kind of pay attention to. So beauty for a specific audience. Okay. So again, this could be age focused or those who have certain skin conditions, those sort of things. So it can be beginners, moms, teens, guys, any audience that you choose is fine. Just focusing on a particular audience. In addition to that, you can also focus on skincare. So if you're passionate about skincare, by all means, if you're an esthetician and that's kind of the route that you want to go, you can focus on skincare, and that could be a main focus of your blog when you're niching down. You can focus on makeup, right? Self-explanatory, but if you're really passionate about makeup, like putting makeup on or putting it on other people, that'd be a good thing to do too. Nails is a good one. If you're someone who's a nail, individual who does nail technician or, along that route, and you always are doing nails and showcasing your cool nails that you were able to do, that's something that you can do, give people ideas. Affordable beauty. So I think this is actually a big one. So kind of showing that, hey, you don't have to go to the high-end brands to get the good stuff. You could just go to your local CVS or Walgreens. Here's some products that I tested, yada, yada. These work pretty well too, right? Affordable beauty, I think, is a good one. High-end beauty. So if you're going the exact opposite of that, to where you're saying, okay, I'm not going to shop at CVS or Walgreens or any of those. I'm only going to go to the high-end, different places for these beauty products, and then I will review those and talk about those. You could do that as well. Affordable fashion, I think, is obviously just fashion in general, right? You can go affordable or high-end, kind of like how you can do with any beauty for the most part. So affordable stuff versus high-end stuff. And then also you can focus on vegan or cruelty-free beauty. So there's kind of a movement for this. It's definitely a niche. And I know that there's a lot of people who are really into that. So I think that would be good as well. Minimalist beauty, these are for the folks that don't want to take on a bunch of makeup, or they don't want to, have all these different types of outfits type of thing, but they want to still look beautiful, right? So the ability to create some type of minimalist beauty blog talking about how to do it, not just on a budget, but without overdoing it, if that makes sense. And then also DIY beauty products. So this is, you gotta be careful here because you don't want to give bad advice, but if you have found a way to do DIY beauty products and they've been working for you, some other people might enjoy them too. So you can use that. Next is you need to choose a blogging platform. So most people get really confused here. This is where I scare people. Stick with me because there's much more coming related to beauty that's important here. But choosing a blogging platform, it is very, very important. Now I urge you again to go look at the blog post that's in the description. It'll cover this in greater detail. But if you're choosing a blogging platform, you want to make sure that you have a good one because you want to avoid an unprofessional look. You want to avoid limited customization. So while you may start on a blogging platform and say, this is perfect, the truth is sometimes in the future that can be really limiting. You don't want that to happen. You also want to make sure that your monetization potential, you can monetize any way that you want. So maybe you're a beauty blogger with like makeup and you eventually want to sell courses. Well, certain themes might not allow, or certain platforms might not allow you to do that. So you want to make sure that you can do whatever you need to do. You want to make sure that you have control over your own content because you're putting all that content up, right? You don't want someone else to own it. And then lastly, probably the biggest thing with blogging platforms is on some of these easy build ones and such, you don't actually own your site, which is scary to me, right? Because it's owned by the other party. So which platform is it that I choose? I always recommend using self-hosting on WordPress, okay? Now, again, and I don't mean to push you towards the blog post, you can watch this video all the way through, but WordPress, it's open source, it's a CMS, content management system. And what it does, well, the benefits of choosing it is that it's user-friendly, great for beginners, it's flexible, and it adapts to your changing needs as you go, right? Like you could start very entry level and get bigger over time. There are tons of free and paid plugins. So if you're like, oh, I need a contact form on my site, like a contact me page, they have a plugin that's free to do that. They also have paid ones. Mobile, all the WordPress sites are mobile responsive. They have built-in blogs, and then they have a massive helpful community of people. considering all the benefits, it's just important to realize that really WordPress self-hosting is the way to go. So if you're worried about self-hosting and you're thinking, well, Ron, I don't know how to do self-hosting and all this and that, don't worry, we'll get to it. Don't stress about it. But definitely, I do recommend WordPress overall. So number 4 is to decide a domain name. So this is, again, where people get a little bit hung up. They're like, I don't know what domain name to pick. And I get all these ideas. Okay, so let me simplify it for you. So I recommend always that you purchase a .com domain name. Okay, so there's like .co, .net, .edu, .org, all these other ones. I recommend .com. I recommend it because it's the most commonly used, most commonly recognized, right? Next is always allow for room for expansion. So you don't want to choose a domain name that's too specific. So what I mean is if you were doing eyeshadow makeup tutorials, you wouldn't want to buy www.eyeshadowmakeuptutorials2021.com. You wouldn't want to do that because you're stuck in eyeshadow makeup tutorials, right? You'd really want to get something that was like awesomebeauty.com. I mean, that's a terrible name, but you kind of get the idea. Something that's a little bit more broad, right, as a URL. You also want to keep your domain name short. The shorter, the better. It should make sense, and it should be a word or however many words you can fit. Maybe 3 or 4 words, kind of at the most, if you can get that low. It just depends on what you're going after. But some examples of short names would be the Glam Soul and Beauty on Distress, right? These are different blogs that are actually out there that are pretty clear. So usually 3, maybe 4 words at the most, but the shorter the better is my point. Use alliteration. So this is a good one. So Salon Secrets or Serious Sensations or the Touch-Up Trove, right? The idea with these is that you're using alliterations, so words that kind of sound alike, that it sticks in the head, right? It's easy to brand. Next would be get creative, right? So sometimes the name that you want has already been taken. So this is very common with domain names. People just buy them and sit on them. It's super annoying. So instead of dealing with that, I don't think that you should buy a domain name that costs $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Forget that. You're better off spending your money elsewhere. But what you can do is like if you wanted the domain name pamperyou.com, right? You could then instead go to like dictionary.com or thesaurus, look at other words. So maybe you try spoilyou.com or indulgeyou.com or indulgeyouDoctor.com or spoilyouDoctor. Just think of different ways. Get creative with the domain name to try to find something that is available, because most of the time what you think right away probably isn't. That's just the unfortunate truth. Add extra words to it. So I encourage you when you're creating a blog to try to add extra words. You can add the in front of it. You can add blog at the end of it. You can add club at the end of it, home, hub, a lot of different things. So for instance, if you're trying to get the name beautymirror.com, you could do thebeautymirror.com or beautymirrorhub.com or beautymirrorclub.com. A lot of different ways. So again, it kind of goes to creativity, but add extra words. That usually helps. Brainstorm a branding concept. So when you're creating your blog, when you're creating it, think of, okay, how could I potentially brand this? You don't have to do it all now, but just think of how it could all be branded and if it sounds good as a brand. If it does to you, it's probably going to be fine. If you think of a branding angle, it's going to be fine. So definitely make sure that you think of that. Use name generating tools. So again, in the blog post below, you can find the links to that. But there's a few different name generating tools that will help you. So name mesh, lean domain search, instant domain, all those will help. Avoid the high price domains. I already mentioned this earlier, but don't go buying a high price domain. It's better to buy a cheaper one and then invest that money into content for sure. And then lastly is don't get stuck here, you guys. So many people stop here because they get overwhelmed and they're like, well, I don't know how to do this. And they get all stuck and then they're like, I'm stuck and I can't even create my blog because I haven't figured out a domain. Don't do that. Don't be that person, right? Don't get stuck here. Move past this. Understand that it is important, but it's not the end all be all. My general advice, give yourself 24 hours and then go with the best one, right? Think about it really hard, research, find it in 24 hours, and then go with it. Because if you get stuck here, you won't ever have any success whatsoever. Next is step 5, which is to buy your domain name and your hosting. So I'm not going to go over exactly how you do this here, because if you go to the blog post, you can see it right here. You can see I have a full walkthrough that explains it. I have screenshots. I have everything to walk you through this entire process and tell you literally step 1, step 2, step 3. It tells you everything. So go to the blog post. It'll cover that for you. We don't need to cover all that here. Next, if you're using the WordPress self-hosting like I recommend, you need to choose and install a theme for your WordPress blog. So this can be a little bit like, oh God, techie. It's not all that tough. A theme basically is the way that your site looks, right? Like every site that's on the internet, generally speaking, some are fully custom, but most of them have a theme. They start on a theme. And this is kind of like, here's a general look, and then you can customize, you can move things around if you have to. You could change the colors, etc. So in terms of choosing a theme, so there's free ones available, but they're just not that good, quite frankly. And to do anything cool with them, you need a developer. So I recommend premium WordPress themes, generally speaking. You'll get fully customizable abilities. You have the tech support to help you along the way. There's clean code. They help you usually rank better, and they're faster than most other platform or other themes out there. They're great looking, right? And they just allow you to do a lot of different things that the cheap free themes don't. And then you can also, there's depending on the theme, there's a lot of updates that can be available. If you purchase them, usually you'll get free updates for life as well. So in terms of what theme I recommend for beauty bloggers, I actually recommend this theme for a lot of bloggers of different types because there's so much customization that you can do. And it's called Thrive Theme Builder. So I do use it on my own site, OneHourProfessor.com, if you want to see it in action. But again, you can go here. Again, in the description, you can click on the link to the blog. But it'll actually show you what Thrive Theme Builder can do. You can click here to watch a video on Thrive Theme Builder to kind of understand what the theme's about and why it's better than other builders out there. But if you are interested in a specific beauty blog, right, one that's built specifically for beauty, I have a list of 5 different ones also on the blog post, and it tells you about why they're, a little bit about why each is good. But always, I'm going to recommend Thrive Theme Builder because there's so much customization that you can do with it, you guys, that you otherwise will have a really hard time doing with the other blogs. So I recommend that you check out all those different options, see which one's best for you, and go from there. So next is step 7. This is where you have to create essential pages and your logo. So you have to create your about page, right? People need to know who you are. They need to know about the creator of that particular blog and kind of what their journey is. You can, again, go to OneHourProfessor, check out my about page. You can learn about the way that you can structure this. There's a lot of different options out there. But the way in which I do it is I tell a little bit about myself, kind of my journey, how I got to where I've gotten, and go from there, right? So there's the about page is very important. Tell them a little bit of history about yourself, who your blog serves, and then include, this is important, a relevant opt-in. So this is basically if you're looking to build an email list, which I highly recommend that you do, right? And if you do, you can basically go and what will happen is on the blog post itself, or I'm sorry, on the about page itself, you'll see it on mine. Basically, there's a link. People click on it. They can go get a course, or they can opt in to get a PDF, something of value to them. And in return, you'll get their email. When you get their email, that's really the best way to market to those people and build a true relationship. Because even social media, you guys, it's so convoluted and so busy nowadays. It's not the greatest thing. Email has the best return on investment by far. In addition to that, you need a contact page. Why do you need a contact page? Well, sometimes there's going to be people who reach out to you and they say, hey, I'm interested in working with you, or hey, there's this product I'd like you to review. There's a lot of different things that can happen with a contact page. So you definitely want to build that out. You want to build a contact form, make sure people can reach you, have that. You also want to have a privacy policy page. This is just important in the eyes of Google and other platforms out there. You want to explain what their privacy is. There's a lot of different ways to do this. But I talk about this on my YouTube channel. I actually talk about how to create a privacy policy and privacy page. You could check that out. There's a lot of different options out there, but it is important to have this as well. And then lastly is creating a logo. So this is a tough part, right? A lot of people are like, well, I want to start my blog, I want to get going, but I need a logo. I don't know how to brand it. And the way that I recommend doing that, again, in the blog post, there's a platform called Tailor Brands. If you click on my link, you'll learn more about it. But basically, it'll help you create a blog logo. And the nice part is you can create the blog logo, and then you can actually kind of customize it yourself a little bit without having to go to an outside designer and paying a ton of money, right? There is a charge for it, but it's much cheaper than a lot of the other things you can do. And after you have all that, really, you can start blogging, right? And this is the most important part of anybody that's interested in creating a beauty blog. You have to actually blog in order to grow, right? So you have to get those first 7 steps done. But once you do, it's time to actually start blogging, which is really the fun part, right? That's when you can really get going. So, on the blog post, I also talk about different things that you can blog about, ideas. I give you ideas. So product reviews, beauty tips, how-to tutorials, monthly favorites, like I talked about the monthly boxes that you can get, beauty trends, best articles and blog post collections. So basically say, hey, for January, these are the top 5 things that I found, or top 10 things that I found. That curation is good too. New products that are coming out, you can talk about that. You could do FAQ articles. So this is basically just frequently asked questions about, mascara or lipstick or this particular hair bleach or whatever it may be, right? There's a bunch of different options there. And then beauty industry news. So different, influencers that are doing things, or just beauty industry news that's happening overall, different beauty events that are happening. There's a lot of different things you can blog about, guys. Don't be fooled. Don't get worried about like, oh, there's not much topics. There's plenty in beauty. It's a very, very big industry, multi-billion-dollar industry. That said, I do recommend that you publish 10 posts before you actually launch your blog officially and tell people about it, meaning create 10 posts and then tell everyone about it, right? You can create your blog today. You can get it going. And 1 Hour Professor, I have a free course that will help you do that. But you can go into there, you can create your blog, all that. And after you have it created, then get 10 posts up and then start sharing it on social media, telling people about it. It's just better because if you just create one post and tell everyone about it, they go, they read that one post, and there's nowhere else for them to go, right? So they drop off. You want to be that person that has some content on there so they can bounce article to article and read more about what you're doing. And after those 10 posts, of course, you have to promote your beauty blog. So there's a lot of different ways to promote a beauty blog, right? And again, there's so many different ways to promote a beauty blog. But generally speaking, when you're starting out, you want to tell your friends and family, right? So social media is a big one in the beginning, just to get people, aware of it after you're comfortable with sharing it. Also, leverage the power of social media. So, not just your friends and family, but joining different Facebook groups as well around the particular topic. So if you have a blog about skincare, joining things with estheticians, right? Telling about what you're doing, great way to do it. And then also, to that point, joining other blogging communities. There's really looking at some of the bigger bloggers in your space. You may find that they have other communities on Facebook, which is good too, or personal communities that you can join, like forums and stuff like that. Not a bad idea to do that. Writing guest posts is a great opportunity. This is where you reach out to other blogs and you say, hey, can I write a guest post for you? And then that's beneficial because you'll grow your audience, right? Because you get exposure to them. The benefit to them is that they get free content, right? And if you have good content on your blog, they may say, yeah, I'll give you a shot. So they want the free content, right? And then you get exposure to their community. And then in addition to that, there's another benefit, which is SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. This is where you can basically create your content, write it, put it out there, and eventually, how in Google you search something and they have all those listings, you can maybe get to the top of Google. I can talk about that more, and I do otherwise on OneHourProfessor.com if you want to learn more. But that's really a benefit of guest posts as well. So guest posts are a great way to do it. It's not always the easiest to get those guest posts, but if you reach out to some people, you may be able to secure a few and get some links back to you and grow your audience a little bit that way as well. And then lastly, so I don't usually recommend this one too much, but if you have good content that you think might be suited for this, you could try it. This is where you try social media ads. So this is when you do ads on Instagram or Facebook. Beauty is a pretty good place to do this only because there's such a focus on beauty within social media and such large communities. So it's pretty easy to target the folks that are interested in this. So you could try this. I'm not a huge fan of spending a ton of money on advertising just to get people to a blog. Just make sure that if you're going to do this, you have a way to make money. If you're sending people to your blog and there's no affiliate way to make affiliate income or display ads or anything like that, probably not the greatest idea, right? Because you're just going to be burning money. So don't be that person. I've been that person in the past, by the way. I've done that previously, when I wasn't really too sure about what I was doing. So just don't do that. It's not good for you. And the last part to starting a successful beauty blog is to make money, right? This is the fun part. So there's a lot of different things you can do for this, especially in beauty, a lot of different things. So affiliate marketing is a big one. So what you may not know is that it's called affiliate marketing. And basically it means that if you recommend a product to someone, so someone goes to your blog and they click on a lipstick that you recommend. If they click on that and they go purchase it, you can get a commission for referring them, right? And a lot of brands have this, okay? There's a lot of big brands out there that have this, but Amazon is one of the biggest ones. So Amazon.com has a platform, affiliate marketing platform for this. Sephora has it. MAC, I believe, has one. A lot of the big players out there have it. So having affiliate marketing within a beauty blog is a great idea because especially if you're doing reviews, it's like, hey, I use these particular products. Click below to get them and to support me. And people tend to do that. In addition, you can do consulting. So as a beauty blogger, depending on where your focus is, if you're an esthetician, for example, you could do virtual meetups with people and say, okay, let me see your skin. Let me recommend this routine. Are you dry? Is your skin usually dry? Is it oily, et cetera, et cetera? You can get into that as well. So consulting can actually be really, really beneficial for you. Informational products. So this comes down to, if you have or people have really bad acne. So again, I'm going to use the esthetician example. But if they have bad acne, maybe you have a course or a PDF that you can get them to purchase that tells them, here's how you can fight the acne naturally, or here's some products that you could use. Here's these different ideas. Give that to people, and then if that's done well, they may actually purchase it from you, which is great because you can make money that way. Google AdSense, this is another great way. So this is when you see ads on pages, right? When you go to a website and you see the ads, you may find them annoying and you may never click on them yourself. I get it. But plenty of people do. So adding them is a good way to make money as well. Plus, it's really passive. You just throw them up, create content, and then as people click on those ads, you make money. You don't make a ton of money per click, maybe 20 cents, 25 cents. But in aggregate, with a lot of traffic, that can actually be a lot of money. I've made $25,000 a month, mostly based off of ads. The key is you got to get a lot of traffic in. And then also sponsored posts. So I don't recommend too much of this, but once in a while, brands are going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, I saw the blog post you put together for this particular lipstick. That's a competitor of theirs, right? So they're like, I'd like you to create a blog post about our lipstick, something like that, right? They will reach out to you and say, how much would it cost to do that? So you can absolutely go that route, place a sponsored post. If you do that, you do want to basically put in there that it is a sponsored post so that, it's not like you're trying to hide it and pushing people in the wrong direction, just for the monetary benefit of yourself. So you do usually want to mention that. But sponsored posts are great. A lot of beauty brands will come out to you and ask for that. So it's definitely something as you grow, as you get bigger, can eventually happen, but you do have to grow and you have to get bigger for that. You can also create your own web shop. So basically your own e-commerce brand. Like if you want to create your own makeup line, eventually when you're big, you can obviously do that, or skincare, if you have certain products that you want to recommend, you could do that as well. There's a ton of options in the beauty industry, you guys. There's no shortage of options on how to make money in the beauty industry. And actually in the blog post, if you go there near the end here, I have how to make money blogging. If you click onto there, it'll give you even more ideas. General, focused on blogging all, as a whole, but there's probably some other ideas in there that I didn't mention here. So that's it, you guys. Those are the 10 steps to starting a beauty blog. I hope that you found them informative and helpful. If you did, please like this video so that YouTube likes it as well. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you become part of the community. Otherwise, as always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.